Hello, today's video is about using EasyRec to reconcile CSV files. So I have prepared like two CSV files, data1.csv, data2.csv. Before I start with the reconciliation, I would like to know if I'm able to successfully retrieve the content of the CSV. So for that, I'm using the menu Tools, Query Tester. I want to reconcile CSV, so I will select the alias for CSV. I select data1, I do a drag and drop in the panel, and the system has automatically generated like two different queries. So I will highlight the first query, click on run, and I can see that I can already retrieve the content of the file. The second query, as you can see, is if you have a CSV without header, you have the capacity to specify what are the header of the CSV. What is the header of the CSV? So in this case, for example, I can see that my header is column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. But in my example, I do have a header, so the first query is enough. So this one is right for me. A CSV is a text document, so everything is returned as string. But what I would like to do is convert like numeric as numeric or date as date. To do that, click on plugin color format wizard here, and the line, the header that you have plus the first line is automatically transposed vertically here, so the header and the first line, and the system has automatically detects what should be the expected format. But if you disagree, you can easily change and adjust what you want. So I will just use the default, copy the query, delete everything here, just paste the query, run again, and I can see that I can retrieve like this column as an integer, this one, sorry, as a numeric value, this one as a date, this one and another one, the amount as a numeric also. I'm satisfied with this one. I'll do the same. It should be CSV. I'll do the same for the second file, data2, drag and drop, highlight the query, run, go into plugin column format wizard, use the default. Okay, so I have my query 1, query 2. I'm satisfied with this. I will start with the reconciliation. Compare tables. I can select, because both are CSV, I can select same data source because both are CSV. So I need to select only one data source, which is the CSV. Then the templates, I'll create a new template. This works as classification, so I can say demo, let's say samples, and here template CSV. I select my first query here, and I select my second query here. Imagine that the two CSV contain different headers. That will not be a problem because this is based on, we're using SQL. So you can easily say, rename this, use an alias as column 2, for example, MIG ID 2. So if source and target share different column names, you can easily rename them on the fly using SQL aliasing features. So here I have my first query that will be executed on the CSV data source and the target query that will also be executed in the CSV data source. If I click on key columns here, I need to select what should be the key columns. And so just by clicking the tick box. If you don't know what should be the key columns or columns to ignore, you can click on compute statistics. It will compute some statistic on the two files and give you like a percentage of coverage. For example, here, I have 0% of coverage. It means that the value that I have in these columns, none of them exists in the target. So definitely this one must be an ignore column. For the rest, it's up to you to select what should be the key column. So in my case, I can select those two, the MIG ID, I can select also the portfolio if I want, and that's it. There is just one thing here, it says null values. This is an important feature because we should not select a null value here as a key because null means there's no business definition. Null means nothing. So if you have a column that contains null, either you make sure you do not select them as a key, or you do something very simple. So here, for example, it was this column that contains a null. I can say coalesce means that if this is null, it will take the second value. And here in this case, I specify a blank. So instead of using directly tier and type, I'm using this coalesce feature. So if I go back here and I evaluate statistics, it's no longer a null because I use the coalesce. So if it's null, I'm using the empty. So I save this template. I'm replacing this one. I can close this, start my reconciliation, and that's it. I can see here source query, target query, some break, all the breaks I have between source and target are displayed here. I have some column statistics here, so you can see the percentage of match, unmatch, if you have some tolerance match, etc. And you have some KPIs here. So at this stage, it's enough to reconcile two different CSV files. One last thing here, as you can see, the title here, it's CSV. It's not very convenient. So what we could do is template wizard. So if you do a right click here, you have this contextual menu to filter to see only the match, missing source, missing targets, things like that. So display only the unmatch, edit, refresh. You will see only the unmatch in this screen. If you do shift right click, you have another contextual menu, template editor. In this case, I go to options, I go to reporting, and I will say that source display label, I want to name this one data 1, and here data 2. I also select this one to export key columns in first position. Okay, so now you have data 1, data 2, and if I generate the Excel file, so it's this one, generate Excel report, I will overwrite an existing report. I can see here the date where it's computed, the source alias, target alias, both are CSV. This is the template I have used. Status is failed. I have a lot of information about number of rows, reconcile, percentage of match. But if you click here on the link, you see key columns exported in first position. That was the option I've selected. Everything about what is match, missing source, missing target. So if you want to see the unmatch only, and then I have data 1 and data 2, which are the header or the titles that I specify in the reporting. Okay, so that was enough to reconcile two CSV files. That's all for today. Thank you very much. And before we quit, if we want to save this as a project, so I have this project wizard, I can do save as. I'm inside folder, so I will name this one project CSV. And now I simply have to do file, open project, project CSV, and I have my reconciliation. Of course, here everything was done in the GUI, but you can do it by script, and I mean that if you run it by script, it can be scheduled at end of day, for example, and the result can also be automatically distributed to people. Okay, thank you. Bye.